Oh, now I can.
Okay. So it was actually the third job that I quit last year.
Oh, good for you.
So it started uh, in the end of April. I knew that something big had to change and something big had to happen in my life. So in one weekend, I quit my job, I broke up with my girlfriend, and I moved. And so that was the first of the three. Then I got some other job to just kind of hold me over. It was really didn't feel like something that was going to last too long. And then I got a third job working for a competitor of the first job, and that whole time just kind of felt like a holding pattern while I got to the point of taking the big leap and betting on myself.
Good for you. My goodness. So, when you decided to make the leap and the leap and the leap, what was the precipitus? Like, what came before that that made you really think this is not the life I want to live?
This has been in something that's just been building in my life since I was a
Yeah.
kid. I've always felt that pull, like I'm not fully living, like I'm not. There's got to be more to it. There's got to be. It really can't be it. It's, and so it's been years of that feeling, that gnawing of just really this is what life is. And so what ended up happening a year and a half ago, I took a month and I did what David Data talks about for anybody who wants to find their purpose. Remove all your comforts and sit in the pain of not knowing your life's deepest purpose, and just sit there as long as it takes. So I did this while working. I removed everything that I could, and so in the morning I would get up at 5 a.m. I'd go to bed at 9 p.m. and removed everything. And then after work, I would go home, I'd make dinner, then I would go sit in my room and just be bored. And I would just sit there. And so I did that for a month. And then it kind of, the way that I look at it is it started getting me this, like a new, it was like I had been blind and now I kind of started to see, I could see a whole bunch of blobs and figures and couldn't really make out anything of what it was. And so it took about a little bit over a year. That was in July of 2014, September of 2015, when I took the full leap. It took that time of really learning to navigate to see. So it was like I kind of had this idea of where my purpose was, where my passion and what I wanted to do, and it's kind of like just taking steps blindly and fumbling over myself while I learned. So each step I took, it led to the next step and led to the next step, and it got my vision more and more clear and more crisp.
That's wonderful. So, when you were doing these steps and thinking about, you knew that there was blobs in the distance, maybe you didn't know what they were meaning. What kept you going towards those and not running back in fear?
It was years of having done the same thing. So
Mm.
I've had corporate jobs. I was in the military. I was a missionary. I've also had jobs or I've also had like a 2 year period where I didn't really have a job. I just kind of did the bare minimum to maintain. And so I've tried working and giving myself to a corporate environment. I've tried not having a purpose and just going full gypsy, as flowing into the universe as possible. And neither of them were fulfilling for me. It was great to learn that life can take care of me and give me exactly what I needed. It was great to know that I have these corporate skills that I can do, but neither of them really made me feel alive.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when did you start knowing that if you pursued the seeing part, that you were going to feel alive?
It didn't come until after I started taking steps.
Mm.
So, like I said, that started back in July of 2014, and it was a bunch of fumbling around. And really, at the end of April or the beginning of May last year, is really when things started to come to really started to feel like something was happening. Like I started taking massive action at that point. I started doing as much as I could to just change the direction of my life. And I had been taking as many steps as I could while working in this other job environment. And it took just jumping full force. And then it was like, oh, there's the next step. Kind of building an airplane as you're falling down.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hear that so often that that's exactly what needs to happen. And, if you're stuck, take action towards what you want. Don't stay stuck. But how was it that you were able to do it in such a big measure? Whereas, and I'm sure you've heard clients do this, or, I was stuck there myself. And when I started to move forward, what is it that kept you on that path? Like, I've already leaped. I know the plane's going to be built. I'm not going to back up now.
So what kept me on that path? It was really the adventure of it.
Yeah.
Changing the story, that the way that I was telling my story is really what was able to keep me going. So the story I'd been telling myself was, I got to take it one step at a time. I don't have the strength to do it. I don't have the knowledge. I'm not good enough to do what I want to do right now. So I need to learn more. I need to study more. I need to try harder, do all the things. It happens to a lot of people. And so the story changed internally, and it was like, I have to do something. So I started telling myself, I have to make something happen. If I don't do this now, I wasted the last 10 years of my life. Well, I spent the last 10 years of my life just kind of doing mediocre. It'll be another 10, 20 years, and it's going to pass like that, and then I'm still going to be trying to wait until the perfect time. And so it was this internal, like, oh, why not just do it now? Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And I think it's so important for anybody that's listening to this live now or who will be listening to the recording. Mm-hmm. The idea that you don't have to do this one step at a time is really refreshing, because a lot of times, you hear the analogy, well, you're at the bottom of the steps, you take one step at a time. I can't do it one step at a time. That pace is too slow for me, and it sounds like it's too slow for you. And so when you're going to take that big of a leap and just trust that it's going to work out, did you always have faith that it was going to work out, or did you have a moment of hesitation and jumped anyway?
I have had daily moments of hesitation. I'm still having moments of, am I still, oh God, I'm still, okay. It's a continual process. And this is the beautiful thing about about going after what you want in life, is you learn how strong you are by standing up and by facing your fear, by going towards what it is that scares you. Because when you keep doing this over and over, it's like, oh, well, that's just a fear. I've beat all these hundreds of other fears. Okay. Well, let's jump again. And it's just this constant, like, seeing the fear, and then you find your strength and you find your pride and confidence by just standing up and being like, The first time it's terrifying, because it's just, you don't have the evidence really to show you. But if you have some good people around you that can cheer you on and that will stand behind you, it makes it a little bit easier. But it still comes down to just the first time you got to jump, and then you make it happen.
Yeah, I really love that. And the idea that you need to have good people around you. Tell me what that looked like for you, because I think that's so important, because a lot of people think they have to do this alone, and you can't, actually, in my opinion.
You can't, and this is something that I'm still learning, and I'm still learning to rely on the amazing people that I have in my life. So this started off back in May. I did another one of the months where I got rid of most of my competition. I limited And then in June, I limited my interactions with most people. I realized that everybody in my life was trying to take my time, take my time, take my time. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to spend my time investing in myself and doing the things that I know, get my routine going and all that. And then I had my two best friends. So every Friday, we would go to the rec center and we would go swim. And that we'd go swim, we'd hang out afterwards, we'd have a big dinner together, and then we'd watch some cartoons or some comedy, and we'd just have a great like 5 or 6 hours together. And it was just a routine. Every single week, we showed up for each other, and the three of us went through this Ty Lopez's 67 Steps program together. So we did that together. We were going through that at the same time. We were reading. We were there just really supporting each other as we were going through all of these big changes and these big jumps. And then when I was like, hey guys, I'm going to leave and go to Korea, they were like, hey, you've been talking about this for years. Do it. It's time. You just go. We're here. We love you. We're going to be here when you get back. We're going to love you when you get back. And so it's been those people really key. And then there's just random, I've met some random people on Facebook, and particularly one person, like I talk to her every single day, and we met in October, and I like pulled up our chat history, and there's 94,000 words since the end of October.
That's awesome.
And like every day, so it's her nighttime and my morning, and it's like we pop in and we check and we say hi, and we talk about like what her day has looked like, and like, the word that she had for the day, and then the word that I have for the day, and how like it's amazing how they've lined up. And like whenever I've needed help, she's been there to like talk me through and help me figure out like the issues, the root of what's been going on, how to change what I'm doing, how to focus a little bit better, and vice versa. It's amazing when you allow people in your life. And if not, you're sitting there trying. I've spent times where I've tried to just hold the burden by myself, and it's hard. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you're so right. And then how do you differentiate the people that can carry you and carry that burden with you, or the ones that are going to want to see you stay where you were? Because I'm sure you had both.
Oh, yeah. The way that I've done it is I move forward and I see who gets excited. Like,
Yeah.
here's one example of what happened back in March. This is one very big pivotal point for me that helped me get more fully engaged in life. Goes back to the idea of the story that we tell ourselves. So before March, my friends had this concept of what animal are you? How do you relate to the world? And so they asked all these questions, and this was years ago. They were like, "Oh, you're a pronghorn. You're an antelope," based off of the way I answered the question. And then I was like, "Oh, I am a pronghorn. Okay." And so for me, it was I accepted that I was a prey animal, and other people dictated my life. That's the way that it was interpreted for me. So in March, I had this major shift where the animal I related to, life was like, you're no longer a prey animal, you're a predator. That means you go out and you're going to create your world. You get to create your life for the first time. And it's like you're now a hawk, you're a predator. You're no longer reaction. You are creating. You get to create the place, be the powerful builder. So when I told one of my friends, I'm like, dude, great things. This is awesome. Look at what happened. I'm no longer a prey animal. He's like, are you sure? You need, us predator animals need you prey animals there. Like, you really just think about this. Do you really want to be a predator? And my two best friends were like, awesome! And they started to be like, you are a hawk? I can see it. And that's the really good way to.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's a really great analogy too, if you think about it, the prey versus the predator. Because when you're taking a passive seat in your life, you are absolutely the prey for those that are out there being a predator. And it could be the predators not wanting you to be successful, or they just don't want you to be better than them, or whatever it is. That's a fantastic analogy. Not that there's anything wrong with being a prey if that's where you want to be in your life, but
Yeah.
that's so great. Now, when you made that leap and you wanted to, well, you made several leaps, but when you started to distance yourself from the predators that weren't supportive of where you were going, how did that affect your well-being or your mindset? Like, were there moments where you were like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this"?
I Last summer was the most bipolar summer I've ever experienced. Like, I'm not clinically bipolar, but I'm just incredibly emotional,
Yeah.
and it was super high highs and super low lows. It was all over the place because it, it's scary, and so it was a lot of questioning myself. I had up to that point, I had never stood up for myself and been like, yeah, I deserve this. So
Mhm.
to me, be like, yeah, I deserve this. I deserve this, and just over time, it just I started like the brain is amazing. It will anything you tell it, any story you believe, it's going to point out every single way all throughout the day how right you are, and be like, see, you are a predator. See, look, you are doing this. You are doing this. You are creating this. You are. And so as I started telling myself the story more and more and more, at first it was very like, oh, yes I am okay, I'm not. Yes I and but as I got evidence over time, as my brain provided the evidence, pointed it out over and over and over, it's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger to where it's gotten a lot more prevalent.
Yeah, that's really great. And I like the idea that it shows you the evidence because that's so true. And, anyone that's gone through ups and downs or is going to make a change, I'm a mindset mentor and I work with people to get past their subconscious or their ego. And if you don't believe that you have a chance in succeeding, even if you don't believe 100%, you're going to see the evidence why it's not working instead of the evidence why it is. Did you have kind of a practice that helped you focus on the positive side?
This, yes, I do. It's not necessarily focusing on the positive side. Like for me, the part of the way of living a more full, like really, really living versus just existing. Part of that is not only going after the positive. So a friend of mine, a Facebook friend who we chat all the time, she put it beautifully. It's like when you see a paint. You paint if you only use the bright colors and light, and you don't add any shadow there, then it looks it's flat. When you
Yeah.
add the shadow, when you add the shadow in life, it adds the depth and the fullness to the picture. So for me, what it was, my practice is then okay, feeling the down that as down as I was getting, just feeling that, and then there's two things. One, the first question I had is, can I open up fully to this? Because most of the time we get those down feelings and then we close up, we tense and we tighten because we don't want to feel it and we try and push it away, which just makes it stronger and it makes it this big thing in front of us. So for me, my routine is, can I open up to whatever is happening? This is scary. Can I open up to it? Can I fully feel what's going on right now? Can I allow my body to be relaxed? And then the second part of it is, can I feel this while I also feel my heart and feel the love in my heart? So it's, can I feel deeper than this surface level emotion? Can I feel the depth of who I am along with feeling this? So where it's like I'm putting the emotion on like a piece of clothing, and I get to wear it and be like, this is what the depth of despair feels like. Huh, this is why I'm alive. This is an interesting feeling.
Yeah, I love that. That's really great. And I think that's one of the key things. I wrote a blog not long ago called Enlightened Bullies. And when you see people who have seen the blobs and they know where they're supposed to be going, and then they start talking about it like it's scripture and making people feel bad for not always focusing on the positive. So I think your description of it is really fantastic, because we are humans and there's a range of emotions that come with that. And you're able to accept that there's going to be moments when you feel despair, but you're able to focus on why you're still moving in that path. I think that's a really great thing. So I love that idea that, and I love the analogy with the painting too. The depth and the 3D-ness that comes from life is not just by being monotone and always happy. There's other things that are going to happen there. Yeah.
One of the things that has come up on my trip, it came up when I left Korea the first time and went to Thailand. It was part of what we love about going to watch a really good movie, the movies that just get us so enraptured, is we love the drama. We love the ups and the downs. If we went to a movie, there was no drama, and it was, all right, kid gets born into a great family, has all the money, marries the person that they want, has a great life, no drama, nothing happens. The end. Nobody would go see that movie. You want to see the ups, where they're super high and then they come down and then they dig their way out of the depth of despair and then they overcome and they become victorious, and then it's all the ups and downs. That's what gets us in movies. It's not just an up. Our lives are just a bigger extension of that, and what makes me enjoy life so fully is I get to experience all of this, and I get to go through the montage of my life movie where I'm digging through and I'm feeling better and I'm creating and I'm doing all of this stuff and I'm facing my fears, I'm finding myself. Instead of it being a montage, like, man, and then I get to go up, down, left, right. It's just so much fun that way.
Yeah, that's a great way to see it. And I think also in your movie, the idea that you can move from being a prey to a predator, and still be content with where life is, even if you're losing people in the process. I think that's really important for people as well. When you're working with your clients, what do you see as the biggest or the main themes that they come to you with that you help them overcome?
The underlying root of everything that I see, it all comes down to self-love. So people are like, oh, I just don't feel like it's quite enough. Like, I'm not fully into life. Then there's some sort of way that they're not loving themselves. They're cut off from their heart. Usually they're up in their head, and there's just a disconnect from their neck down. A lot of this happens with spiritual people, where it's like, oh, I'm spiritual, I only want to focus on the good, the light, the positive. And then anytime anything negative comes along, they get tension, tightness, and their whole body shuts down. And so that's not showing yourself love. And like, one of the biggest things that makes a huge difference that's easy is just practicing the feeling of love in your body. Like, what does love feel like? Most of us say love and then it goes right here. There's the concept and there's words. There's all the stuff that limits what love actually is. Love isn't something that's up here. It's something down in our heart, down here in our body that we feel. And anything that we use to try and describe feeling limits what it actually is.
Yeah, I really like that. That's a really great exercise to have someone go through, because, I was someone that would stay in my head as well. And I know that it was so hard. I worked with some energy workers, and how they have you drop down into your heart space. I wasn't going there. They would already see me there. And I was like, I'm way up here. I'm thinking about all the things you're getting me to do. I'm open to this, but I'm stuck up here. So I like that idea of feeling what love is, not conceptually, but in your body. What does that feel like? So when you are able to get someone to tap into that, is it typically an emotional experience for them?
The way that I like to do it is I create a very safe space.
Mm.
So we do it within the confines of what's a really, really good memory that you have where you felt love, where you felt safe and loved. All right, now think of that memory and then bring that memory up as big as possible. And then, so it's a safe memory to me, and they're on the phone with me, so it's a very safe space.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting off from the safeness, and then we bring up the memory, we make it as big as possible, and get into it, and fully allow yourself to go as deep into the memory as possible. The first couple times it's a little bit hard, but the more you play with your imagination, the stronger you build the neural pathway. And then what happens is as you get deeper into the memory, the feeling starts to come up. Let's say it was your first birthday party and your grandma gave you this amazing present and then came up and hugged you afterwards. And when you hugged her, you just felt this intense love from your heart to hers and this back and forth exchange. And then you close your eyes and think about that moment, get bigger and bigger until you actually are feeling what you felt. So it's a beautiful, safe moment of feeling love. And then you just hold on to that and feel that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a really great exercise for someone to do. And when you practice that, then is the idea that you can bring that feeling up in moments of tenseness, or if there's something's going really bad, you can go back to what that feels like.
Yes, it is. If you practice this over and over, what you get where you do the next step is to remove the emotion or the feeling from the memory. So you get to where you can feel the feeling without needing to process it. So when you practice this over and over and over, you build up this memory in your body of what you're feeling. So it's like, okay, what does love feel like? Oh, there it is. Okay, I feel it in my body right now. And you don't need to get into the memory. You start feeling. So then you practice with these other emotions. Practice. And I look at this thing, and I love this thing as intensely as I loved my grandma back on my, back when I was in first grade.
Right.
Okay. And then you get to where you love the next thing. And then what happens is whenever you have these feelings and emotions, you are actually feeling this part of you that's negative, that shadow part of you, and then you're literally loving the darkness, loving the part of you that you don't want to love, that you are scared to love, that you're scared to feel. And so what it does is it brings in acceptance of who you are right now, rather than, oh, well, when I get to this point down the road, when I get to blah, blah, blah. And then out of this space, here right now as I am, I love myself. Then I move to what I want to do. Or that's what you get to it, rather than, oh no, I need to go there so I can love myself. I love myself. What's the best thing for me right now? Okay, I need to eat a salad every day. I don't like salad, but I love myself enough to eat a salad, so I'm doing this out of love.
Oh, I love that. That's great. And, I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar, but Eckhart Tolle has The Power of Now. And he talks about a similar concept, but the idea that right now, here, do you need anything? No, everything's perfect right now. And if you're worried about something that happened before, you're living in the past. And if you worry about something in the future, you're not being present in this moment now. Do you think, or do you feel that it's important to have a spiritual practice? Do you have your own spiritual practice?
Spiritual is a loaded word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I say whatever opens. It doesn't.
Yeah.
If you want to call it spiritual, yes. If you don't, focus on relaxing and being human. part of what I missed out on when I was focused completely on on the spiritual side. I wasn't in my body. I was trying to not be human. I was so focused on like changing the channel of my life. I didn't like life so much that I thought I needed to change the channel in order to figure out a better way to live. If I could get out of being Brendon, then I'll actually be able to live. So I'm going to go and I'm going to try and have out of body experiences. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to get all my attention off of me and this body. And so my spiritual practice, my practice is just get into that. Get in. What does my body feel like? What is being human? Well, being human is eating and walking and talking, connecting, relaxing, and all of happy, joy, you know?
Yeah, no, I love that. That's really great. We have someone that just joined us, Baba. I'm going to be taking questions in a few minutes, so we'll have you jump into the hot seat in a few minutes. I think that's a really great way of describing whether or not you need a spiritual practice. And it was purposely a loaded word because I think it's something that, I came from having religion in my life to completely disregarding it to then moving to where I am now. And I do consider myself a spiritual person that does have faith. But it's a tough leap for some people. And even some of my friends who are very open to what I'm doing and they've kind of wanted to follow along on some of the things that I've been doing. And I recommend books, but it leaps too quick into the spiritual for them. So they're like, I couldn't connect with that. So I think that's a really great way of describing it. What books or what mentors have you had that have really made a huge impact on you?
My biggest mentor that I followed since 2008 and David.
Yeah.
So this is really where I've gotten most of learning to open to whatever and learning to feel deeper than whatever emotion. So his book, The Way of the Superior Man, is the first book that I read. It actually took me like a year after hearing the title to get over my annoyance at the title to read it. I was like, Superior Man, who do you think you are? Come on. And then I read it and was like, I get it. You're right. But then a really fun book of his, it's called Instant Enlightenment. That's Stephen Sexton. And it's, I think, 34 chapters of just practices that are really out there, really weird and strange and just silly. But it's a different way to focus and to learn about it gets you into your body and it gets you feeling and it gets you opening your body up to what you want. He's been the most important mentor. And then Ty Lopez, he made a huge difference for me with his program. That was absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. I find that every time I either read a new book or I follow someone's post about the books they've read, I add like 10 or 15 new books, and I probably have 3 on the go at any week. So it's so great when you hear new people and new ideas. Do you think that there's any way to shortcut? I know that, like me, you don't think you have to take each step. But do you think there's a way to really shortcut it so that you're always feeling high, always feeling good? You see the bright colors, the dark is there, but you see the bright colors. Or do you think it's necessary to have the setbacks to really get to where you need to be?
Oh.
Yeah, good.
It depends on you and how quick can I get rid of all the layers of BS that I'm going through.
Yeah.
And so the fastest way, the way that I've taken the biggest step in my life, that really the biggest difference as far as transitioning in my life this last year I finally started investing. Like I put over $10,000 into investing. I paid for a couple of I bought a couple of really important, really good programs online. I bought a ton of books, and I gave all of this stuff. I took the money that I was wasting, and the money is a really great tool of what we are showing people. So we're going out, we're hanging out with people that we don't really care about. We give our time and our money to all these things that are important to us that don't take us closer to our goal. It's a form of self-sabotage. We take our money and we say, I'm going to give all this money into my what do I need right now in order to okay, I'm putting all my money. It's a very, very important tool for us. I love myself so much. I'm giving myself the most money in the world. Give that to ourselves. It's very huge. And the shortcut to talking about it's not just money, it's part of being exposed. So the way that I like having it like doing it alone. So there's three types of people who are teaching, right? So are okay doing the 9 to 5, going and they're not really putting in much effort. They're just okay with whatever they're doing. They're staying still or they're actually regressing. And there's people who get into self-help, get into going and like I'm reading now, I'm doing things, I'm starting to make videos, I'm blah 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 blah. They're going for it. Like they get a skateboard, they start what's it called? Kicking, pushing, making themselves so fast. No matter how fast they go, they can only get up to a certain. But then it's like when you get a coach, so they're in a car that's passing by, and so you get to be on your skateboard and you get to grab onto the car. You get to go based off of their speed. You throw at a finish their throw.
Yeah, that's really incredible, and I think that's so important for people to hear. The idea that investing in ourselves, well, first of all, some people think it's selfish to invest that much or whatever it is, or it's something they can't afford. But just like, I graduated 2 years ago from a master's degree, and it was a 2-year program. And the year before I did it, everyone's like, well, you have 4 kids, your husband's in the military, he's away all the time. How can you do this? And I'm like, you know what? The time is going to pass anyway. The 2 years are going to go by, whether I do this or I don't do this. So I might as well spend that time investing in myself. And then when it comes to money, I have the same kind of attitude. The money will probably be spent or wasted anyhow. So it might mean that I don't go out 3 times a week. I might go out once a month or whatever it is. And that investment becomes something that I can then turn into something that's important to me. So I think that's really important. What do you say to people who, you kind of mentioned that you can go at a faster pace, but what do you think people who just think, oh no, I'm not going to get a coach and I can really do this alone, but I expect to make $1 million in a year or whatever it is?
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier with having friends and having good people around you versus doing it alone. Yeah, sure, you can hunker down and you can deal with everything. Yeah, but part of the thing with having a coach is okay, when you put a lot more money down to have the coach, it's not like any of us coaches have any brand new amazing information to tell us. Like all those things that we hear online and find us anything. Every one of us has the same access to knowledge. What paying for a coach does is to invest. It's to invest in us. Most of us, I'm sure you tried to do it on your own. I tried to do it on my own. And what happens is I was like watching videos, I was doing the stuff, but it kept me up here. It kept the wheel spinning up here, making me feel like I was doing it. It was like, I'm fixing myself, I'm getting better, I'm growing, I'm fixing myself. Instead of fixing myself purposely, twice. It's this habit of feeling like we need to do it. So we get into this cycle of not actually doing anything. We feel like we're doing it on reading, we're filling ourselves with knowledge, and we're growing, and we're thinking. But so what a coach does, coach comes in on the outside like, you're lying to yourself. No, I'm not. I'm just, no, you're lying to yourself. Look, here's what you said you wanted to do this. This last year, not doing anything. During try and do it. You're still not doing it. You want to start doing this? Yes. No, start doing it. But I'm not ready. Coach, just being outside has an objective view. So you get your investment, you paying money. Then you get the internal, like, okay, do this. And you do everything that's day. And then you get this. And you what they're doing, what they're saying, and you follow their path. It limits all of the options. There's the analysis paralysis, right? There's so much out there. Like, I want to start this, but then this person comes along and there's this, and I need to pay for it. When you give coach money, you're saying, I am going to do whatever you say. And if you get more results, because it's limiting, you're purposely putting a limit, saying, I'm only going to do this. And you follow that path for as long as
Yeah, I really like that. I think also, two things that popped up when you were saying that is the idea that even the most natural, gifted athlete in the world who wants to achieve really big results. Now, if you just want to play in your backyard and you just happen to be really damn good, that's fine. But every single athlete has had a coach or 1,000. And they have coaches for different things, or they have a coach and a massage therapist and a nutritionist. It's never just one thing that gets them there. And it doesn't matter how much theory they've read about running, the coach is what sees what you cannot see to push them forward. I really like that. The other thing that I was thinking when you were talking is the idea that analysis paralysis, and even if you're taking action, if you're taking action based on the experience you've had before, even if you've learned a new theory, your subconscious, your mind, your ego is going to have you do it in the same pattern you did it before. And you may not even realize, you feel like you're doing something new because you have a new theory that you've learned in a book or whatever it is, and you're moving forward in that direction. But then you get caught up doing, the same old, or, I caught myself one time, I talked myself out of going to something. And I'm a very, I'll do anything, I'll try anything. And 3 times before I got there, I talked myself out of going. So the first time I really didn't go. And then after that, it became an accountability thing with my coach. And I ended up going and having a blast. And whatever excuses I had used before was like bullshit. They didn't mean anything. But that's that whole idea that if you have someone that's looking around, looking at the blind spots you can't see, and also calling you out on your stuff, like you're able to move forward.
Another fun aspect of that same thing is, I've had coaches tell me this, and now that I've been coaching people, I see it too. As coaches, we see more potential in you than you see in you. Yes. And we're going to hold you to a higher standard than you hold yourself. Like, you think you hold yourself to a high standard, but like you said, when you feed yourself bullshit, and then it's easy to, my back hurts today, I'm not going to go to the gym. Well, your back really hurt, or are you you're probably just making.
Yeah, that's so true. You made me think of this guy. I worked in government with him, and he had a really bad sciatica pain and like a really bad injury. And there's no way anybody could have had an excuse not to go to the gym. It should have been him. But he went anyway, and he did upper body or whatever it was, because to him it's so important. It became, it's his value to take care of his body. So for him it was, no one was going to tell him he couldn't do any activity. He just figured out a way to do it differently. And I think that's this idea of, and you mentioned this at the beginning, when you see the blobs and you move towards it when you didn't know what it was, that knowing what the blob was became more important than any comforts or anything that you had in your life currently. Yeah, that's so important. That's incredible. And there's a lot of people that really can't let go in that profound way. I find that's really tough. And you, it's okay that you can't do it on your own. It doesn't make you any less of a person or a failure or anything like that. It just makes you really human. I'm going to open it up to anyone that may have questions. I know that Baba, I don't know if he's still on there, popped in there for a second. If the open seat is there, if anybody wants to jump on. In the meantime, tell us how we can find you online. What is the best way? How do you love to communicate with people?
I love using my that is the best way. I have information daily. I use articles. I write articles on there. I don't have a blog or anything, but I use Facebook blog. I put up exercises. I give ways to do all the things I talked about. Step by step stuff up every single day. I put up motivational themes and all of that as well. Help get on Facebook.com/Brendon Brackin.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Actually, I'll see if I can get my Facebook up fairly quickly and try to put the link in the box there for anyone. I don't even know. What I usually do is upload this to YouTube after, and I'll send you the link, of course, for anyone that wasn't live here or wants to hear it after. I'm pretty sure the side chat happens there as well, but I could be wrong with that as well. And when you're in Korea, how long do you plan on staying there?
So I am here until March. I'm going to go back to the U.S. in March. Got a friend's wedding. Got to finish up my back tattoo and do a few other things. But I'm going to move here. This is where I want to be. So I'm going to apply for a 5-year visa when I'm back in the States, and I'm going to get here. And this is where I've decided to have home for the next while.
That's wonderful. That's so good. I've never been. I hear it's incredible. I have a friend that used to teach there, actually. She used to teach English. Okay, I think I have your page coming up. Again, my running two things seems to be a challenge for this hotel internet. It's funny. So if there was any words of wisdom or anything that you wanted to tell people that were listening right now, no matter where they are in their journey, what would you like to say to them?
It doesn't matter what the size of your vision is. It doesn't matter if you want to become the next Sam Walton, if you just want to become a really good mom, whatever you want to do. Come up with 3 things. Come up with 3 goals that you have that are going to take you closer to what you want. And then break the goals down into 3 things that you can do every single day for 5 minutes. Start out with as small of steps as possible. And then do those steps every single day. Give yourself 30 days. Give yourself 1 month doing a free 5-minute thing. You can take 15 minutes out of your day. Anybody has 15 minutes to give out of their day. Build a habit of doing great things every single day. But make sure you do as small of a step as possible. Do the smallest thing that you can even think you can think of. What that does get you making actually opening up new process.
You're cutting out there. That last little part. If you can do that for 30 days, that's where we. Yeah.
Am I good now?
Yep. Good. Yeah.
So if you do it for 30 days, you show yourself every single day that you can be trusted. Give yourself momentum. Give yourself going towards what you want to do. And so this is part of like taking a leap is you build the trust in yourself. I can trust myself to do what I need to do. Even on the days when I don't like doing it, I have the strength to say I can do this, even when I don't feel like it. And then you do that day in and day out for 30 days. And after 30 days, all right, what's going to take me closer to my goal? How can I increase my 5 minutes? What can I do? What can I change? It's easier to change a habit than to create a new habit. So just get going with something minuscule, as tiny as steps as possible, and that's going to build trust.
Yeah, that's really great, and I think that so fits in with what you talk about: self-love, self-trust. If you can't make a commitment to yourself, then you can't be expected to keep it really anywhere else. So that's so great. I don't know if there's anyone that has any questions. So far, nobody's there. I know Bubba, I can see him back online, but it doesn't seem that he wants to jump in, which is fine. This has been one of my favorite. I say this every time, so I don't want you to go back to other interviews and think, hey, she said that already. This has been one of my favorite interviews. I don't know if I just keep pulling in people that I love that much. It's been a real blast to talk to you. Thank you for your patience at the beginning. And I have to say, one of the reasons why I really wanted to interview you is every time that you show up, you have this presence that is so alluring and open, if that makes sense. And so we connected through one of the groups that we're in, and then, through private message, and I really appreciate that. And I'm so glad that you took the time. What time is it now? What day and what time is it where you are right now?
It is 11 a.m. Friday.
I love that because it's Thursday, 9 p.m. here. That's so, we just time traveled here. So thank you. What's that?
Talking to you from the future.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, and I like your tips from the future, by the way. Everybody should improve them right away so that they're ready for the future. Well, thank you so much, Brendon. And, no doubt we're going to stay in touch. I put your link there. I will be sharing the link to the Facebook or to the YouTube, and all the Facebook groups. I'll send it to you as well. And this has really been a fantastic interview. So I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.